The Baltimore Ravens are at it again. Welcome back to the Eye in the Sky. And yes, the Baltimore Ravens are the Jekyll and Hyde of the National Football League. We all remember the turnaround last year. Well, they're at it again, having started the 2025 season 1-5, and then managing to win a couple of games in a row against the Chicago Bears and then the Miami Dolphins, getting that record to 3-8. A 3-8 record, which gives them a 47% chance of winning the AFC North, according to Next Generation Stats. So how do they do that? How do they they constantly, consistently, year after year, seem to turn this thing around? Well, I can talk about this year, and the turnaround is really having to do with a three-headed monster. Two guys that you know probably plenty about, and one guy maybe not so much. Lamar Jackson right now is on fire. A 136.7 passer rating, he leads the entire NFL. 14 touchdowns, only one interception, threw 4 touchdown passes against the Miami Dolphins last week. Yards per attempt at 9.1, which is second in the NFL. Lamar Jackson is back. He's shaking off the rust. He's on fire. Now, the guy standing behind him, Derrick Henry, he's kind of on fire as well, having rushed for over 100 yards in 2 of his last 3 games. And against Miami, 119 yards on 19 carries. And little did I know that he is now the 8th player in NFL history to have over 12,000 rushing yards and over 100 touchdowns. So neither one of these two guys are going to surprise you. We both know that they're great. But then there's Kyle Hamilton, right? We knew he was a good football player, but what they have done with him over the last few weeks has really transformed this Ravens defense, and I think that's what's most responsible for this turnaround. The Ravens, weeks 1 through 5, were giving up 35.4 points per game. Over the last 3 weeks, they've only given up 13. And along that way, they've also dropped the yards given up by nearly 100 per game. So how did they do this? Well, they bring in Alohi Gilman, let him play kind of in the deep half, and then that allows Kyle Hamilton to rove around the box, kind of like a Josh Metellus, and believe me, it is working out very well. But don't take my word for it on any of these guys. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Kyle Hamilton. Let's go to the film and take a look at what these guys are doing and how this Ravens team has really turned things around. I want to start the episode with Kyle Hamilton and what the Ravens defense has done. We talked about the improvements in numbers. They sat down during the bye and said, we need to get more aggressive. We need to get more sacks. Kyle Hamilton became part of that. My point, the Vikings offense has to stay out of 3rd and 8+, because when you do that, that's when you start getting all these funky looks with different linebackers and safeties and all kinds of different people walking up to the line of scrimmage. And reason being is the whole point of a zone dog is to be able to overload one side of the coverage or one side of the offensive front and then still play zone behind it. The weak spot being is that you're only 3 under 3 deep, so there are some holes, and a lot of times that's the throw and catch that's there. However, look where it's caught. It's caught just behind the line of scrimmage, and theoretically the defense should be able to rally and tackle and get a 4th down. So 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6 or less is the goal, to keep the Ravens out of this type of zone dog scheme. Now, we'll go to the end zone, and you're going to get a really good look at what they're doing here schematically, and then we're going to talk about really the main guy in all of this, who is this guy, Kyle Hamilton. Now, it's going to ring so closely to what the Vikings do with Josh Metellus, it's going to be crazy. But in this case, you are setting up to get the goal here is to get this center to open this way. So then you have a center, a guard, and a tackle opening this way. And what's going to end up happening is you are going to overload the complete opposite side by bringing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, whichever way that they decide to, whatever gap they choose to pick. But you only have 2 linemen over here, so you're going to make sure you're going to bring a running back into it, and you're going to be short somebody. So as this ball snapped, that center opens the other way. You have one-on-one here, one-on-one here. Now you have a free rusher to the quarterback. But Kyle Hamilton, okay, he's usually been where? Deep. Now they got him walking up front, but his ability to play inside in a blitz, watch on this play right here. As the ball snapped, this is a play right here. The running back has him right here, dead to right, but watch what he's able to do. The athleticism. Gets inside there, pressure up on the quarterback's face, quick throw. Yes, this was a first down, but Hamilton is an effective blitzer, and they're sending him all over the place. Here's the next little number that they love to do with Kyle Hamilton, and I don't think the Dolphins were prepared for this at all. But again, schematically, this is pretty simple. It's not necessarily about the blitzes that you have, but the guys executing them. In this case, this is a pretty simple kind of a smack stunt, if you will, off the weak side of the offense. You're going to get a defensive lineman underneath here. This defensive lineman is going to crash into that B gap. And what Kyle Hamilton's going to do is going to walk up on the outside last minute and then blitz off the edge. But again, the execution and timing of it all, watch this. As this ball snapped, he gets off the ball, boom, he's right there to meet the running back in the backfield. So again, his ability to move around, Miami's not quite ready for this. All right, he walks up, perfect timing on this whole thing, steps up off the edge, meets the running back in the backfield, and gets the big tackle for loss. Hamilton has been extremely disruptive in the blitz game. So here we are again. I mean, the Ravens ran this blitz a number of times this game. So the Dolphins know what Kyle Hamilton's up to. They see him walk up on the outside and they say, okay, we're ready for you. This time we're going to try to get you to blitz off this edge like you did last time, but we're going to get something that goes behind you. But again, it's not the blitz in the scheme itself, it's the guy who's doing it. So you have this exact same look of a downhill run, except this time it's the center that's choking back past this nose tackle and eventually is going to block here, but then eventually he's going to work his way on the outside and try to pin Kyle Hamilton in, assuming and hoping that he's going to be too aggressive. So you have the turnout, but look at Hamilton. He sees that reverse, the long arm, and he's doing the right thing here on this play, which is to make this running back cut back, build a wall, even if it's outside or wider, to make this running back, as he gets the football, not be able to beat you around a short edge. Widen this edge. That buys time for everybody else to get there. And you'll see he gets out there. Now this running back has to start and stop again. Now he's in trouble. Now this is really a tackle for loss. But the pursuit, it's getting there. Unfortunately for the Ravens, the pursuit doesn't quite get to him. And he's able to do a pretty incredible run back to the line of scrimmage and get a few yards. But Hamilton, when he is not just a good blitzer, he's also very aware. And for him to be able to blitz off the edge for a TFL, maintain that aggressiveness, but then smell a rat and stop a reverse is pretty impressive. We've seen Hamilton already a couple times blitzing off the edge. Well, in this case, they're walking him back up. Again, Miami knows exactly what's coming. Hamilton gives him a little jump, tries to get him to jump offside. It's kind of a fun thing, but it's easier for a DB to blitz, but to also play the run, especially when you have a tight end blocking you, is hard to do. But watch Hamilton on the edge here. This is just going to be a straight up zone run to the outside, and you're just going to get a basic tight end reach block on the safety. Try to push him out as wide as he can. Watch Hamilton once this ball is snapped. He gets in on that tight end. The ball is just here at the mesh point. But watch him get off this block. Swim move. Just like that to get himself back in. Again, by doing so, what he's doing is setting the edge, not letting that football to get outside. That way, all these other linebackers and D linemen can get to the football, right? Ball snapped, boom, gets outside, shuts off that edge and gets in on the tackle. So they're blitzing him from the edge. He's able to play the run. He's able to attack, pass protection. Very, very good at what the Ravens are now using him and using his skill set to do. And finally, a true test of a safety in the box is how well he plays the counter. This is a misdirection play. And by that, I mean this is these guys up front are all going to be blocking down this way. They're going to pull the guard, and this fullback is going to come inside and try to seal somebody in. Safeties, the ones, even the good ones, the ones that can really play the run, have a hard time with this misdirection type of a running game. And we'll watch this thing as it develops. The ball is snapped, okay? This fullback is barreling down right here. This guard is reading what's going on here, but he's going to loop around and try to seal. Meanwhile, this wide receiver is going to try to crack down on Hamilton. But watch Hamilton's response to this. He sees everything that's going on. Now, what does he do? He turns his vision toward the blocker. He's going to crack the cracker, okay? Come in, boom, hit him, come off, and make the tackle. And when you watch this whole thing play out in full speed, it's very, very impressive. Here it is. Down block, sees the guard pull, works his way outside, bam, comes up like a linebacker and makes the play. So Hamilton's new set of skills and the ways that they're using them, it really fits. Blitzing up in the A-gaps, blitzing off the edge, playing the run off the edge, and then also playing the run is really a linebacker. So the offense has to look out for him in all those areas. He's kind of like Harrison Smith now. You can't just ignore him, right? You have to account for him at all times. All right, the next monster, Lamar Jackson. We already been through the numbers. He was a little rusty, I think, in the first half of this game against Miami, but this is all from the same drive in the third quarter where Lamar started firing on all cylinders again. And these next 4 plays really show all of the areas where he is dangerous. On this first one, notice the formation. We talk about this all the time. Teams that want to put tight ends all the way outside. Why? Because they want to know if the guy walking out and covering him is a corner or a safety. In this case, it's a safety. If the safety walks outside the corner, this is man-to-man. So Lamar's like, okay, we've got man-to-man here. I know exactly what's going on. Send him in motion, bring him in. The safety's mirroring him. He knows, all right, I know what I'm getting. So takes the snap, gets to the top of his drop. At this point, there's really not a whole lot going on. Not a great route for man-to-man. Everything down here is covered. He might have the tight end eventually across here, but unfortunately you have a free robber in here, and then you have the free safety. So Lamar makes up his mind because he knows it's man. Well, when it's man, there really isn't anybody spying him underneath, okay? They don't have anybody spying him underneath, so I'm going to just pull this thing down and move the chains with my own 2 legs, okay? So Lamar is averaging 36 rushing yards per game, and among quarterbacks, that's 3rd best. If you play man against him, he's going to pull that thing down and run, and he can hurt you. So you don't want to play too much man-to-man against Lamar, but he's pretty good against the zone as well, right? And again, beginning of this play, spread out. That helps Lamar identify what's going on. The other thing that they're going to do is motion this back out of the backfield. You see a lot more teams doing this. This is to create really an overload with 3 receivers down here at the bottom of your picture, so that way it pulls more of the underneath coverage this way because they want to open up the backside of this play. What do they have going on up here? Well, they're going to have a couple of slants, one here and then another one behind it. And all Lamar is doing is he wants to freak this guy out, to make him bite. So watch him. He's looking at this slant. This is going to get this linebacker to turn and jump right there. See that? When the linebacker does that, all he's doing is opening up this window right here. So again, you go back to this spot. Lamar, where are his eyes? His eyes are over here to try to pull the underneath coverage. Boom. He goes back. He's looking at this window. That's going to pull this underneath linebacker here to try to get back underneath it. But nope, he's just waiting. That window opens up, throw, catch, first down. Lamar is so good at managing this underneath coverage as well. So you play man, he might run. You play zone. If you don't have enough bodies underneath, he's going to pick you apart. Now, don't forget, this is all the same series. Now, the third way Lamar can pick you apart is with the play action. Notice the personnel, okay? You got a big tight end right here, another tight end sitting right here, Derrick Henry in the backfield. This is a running set. Now, what they're trying to do is take advantage of this underneath, these linebackers underneath. Okay. So what does Lamar do? Takes the snap, turns his back on the defense. And what do you have? You have a tight end who's working his way, trying to find this open area of the field. And as Lamar gets to the top of his drop, the Ravens went after this guy, 25. I don't know who he is, but man, they wore this guy out. But let's go back again. Okay. Snap, play fake, gets to the top of his drop, takes a look. Now you see it. You just see this entire area of the field that's wide open. And Lamar just puts that thing right on the money, hits the receiver in stride, another first down. So he can scramble, he can pick apart underneath zone, and they can line up big and run the ball, which is what they love to do, but they can also run play action passes off of it. And finally, for this series, Lamar in the red zone. Now, they've been struggling earlier on in the season, 3 for 3, I believe, against the Miami Dolphins. But this is a perfect example of you get the motion, you get all the big bodies over here on one side. You have all the defense. Look at all the Miami Dolphin defenders over here. There's just a pile of them, right? Well, they're going to take play action on the front side of this, make all these defenders now believe that it's some type of pass and work their way out to the flat. What the Ravens are doing, they're sneaking this tight end right here all the way to the opposite side. Watch Lamar. Gets to the top, goes back. But his ability here, despite the pressure, okay, he's getting some pressure here in his face. He wants to roll this thing out. He wants to roll this thing out over here a little bit more to work to the backside. He feels that pressure. Look at him shift and just move his legs, buy some time to his left, and hit a wide open tight end in the end zone. So Lamar play action. This is just one series now, and there are 4 different plays and really 4 different ways that Lamar is beating the Dolphins. Okay, so this is another drive in the red zone, and I think this play points out the system that the Ravens use to help Lamar succeed. Okay, and we've seen it before. We've seen it with a lot of different teams. They start out, break the huddle, put 2 receivers down here on the bottom, 2 tight ends up on top. Why are they doing this? They're doing this to see who is going to come over with the receiver. In this case, it is the cornerback or the safety. They know that what they're getting here is man-to-man because they're not bumping it. They're having this guy run the whole way. So what does Lamar do? He's looking back saying, hey, here we go. We're going to run our man-beater route, okay? And in this case, it's a play-action pass. What they're trying to do is send this receiver across and then this receiver right up underneath to try to get a pick, okay? Try to get a pick. I got another beauty of a pick coming up here in a second. But in this case, it really doesn't work out. Lamar's back is turned. They don't get anything on the pick right here. So right now, this play isn't going anywhere. But Lamar has a really good pocket, which is going to allow him to buy some time. Now watch the receiver right here. The Vikings DBs have to know how to plaster, meaning you have to have a clock in your head. After 2 or 3 seconds of coverage from in zone, it's got to go to man. You can't turn these guys loose because watch what happens. Bateman just stops, hooks himself up in the middle of the end zone right here. Now he's wide open because that corner got lazy and overran it, and Lamar just steps up in the pocket, keeps his eyes down the field. Boom, easy throw and catch for the touchdown. So watch it all again. There's the scissor route up to the top, no pick. Lamar pulls that thing down. He's starting to move forward, and these receivers have a beautiful feel. They know exactly when to start making the move and improvising. Find the open spot. Lamar steps up. Easy touchdown in the back of the end zone. Because the Ravens are so good at running the football, it opens the door for a lot of other things. And in this case, you're going to see Lamar Jackson on the move, hitting a receiver who makes a double move. Okay, so notice the formation. 1 tight end up on top. You have 1 tight end down here with 2 receivers. What you're going to get here down below is really a deep post or kind of a go route. And then the inside receiver will work his way up and then work the out. Meantime, Lamar is going to be rolling this way to make it look like this is the area that they want to throw the football, but that's not what they're going to do, okay? So, snap. Lamar starts to roll right there, right? That's Flowers making the outcut. This looks like the same play that they've run 10 times before where Lamar is going to hit him on the out route right by the sticks. But watch the receiver. Whips his head around. Now we've got some room. Now we've got something going right here. You have an alley down here. The ball is already on its way and hits Bateman in stride, cut back, gets the ankle tackle. But again, their ability to disguise, show things over and over again, and then get you guessing, okay? And in this case, they're taking advantage of the slot corner guy underneath. Jams, gets outside. Now he's late. Catch, ball delivered on time so he can cut back underneath the safety, and it ends up being a big play. So with this offense and what Harbaugh's done is just there's always something off of something. Every run has a play action. Every boot has a throwback to it, and it's really, really amazing what they do. You have to be super disciplined in the back end of the defense. All right, we're going to run a little test, all right, with everything that we've learned here on the channel, okay? Notice the formation. The tight end is out here, and who's cornering him, covering him, but a safety, okay? It's not the cornerback. The cornerback's up here on the wide receiver, okay? So Lamar's taking a look. He's seeing what they have going on over here. All right. Notices that's the safety. That's all the way outside. They're not bumping. Pulls the tight end back in. He knows what? He's getting man to man. And this is one of the funniest, one of the best pick routes I have ever seen. And it's simple. You're just going to take the tight end and run him this way. Take this wide receiver and run him this way. And make these defenders have to pass all of this off. And it's brilliant. See, he's walking up saying, all right, we got man-to-man. We got what we want. We know what we're going to do. Here we go. Let's get the pick route. Watch this. Tight end. Boom. 2 Dolphins on the ground. And when you see this from the end zone, it's even better. This has to be one of the best pick plays I have ever seen. As far as just you see it developing, and the defenders need to see it too. You have a tight end running here. Wide receiver running here, but watch Tweedle-A here and Tweedle-B right here, because these guys, it's just ugly. Boink. If you're a Dolphins fan, I really don't know what to tell you, because when you can't just kind of execute some of the simple things, it could be a long season. And finally, from my scramble and making a play catalog, this is a thing of beauty right here. This defenses are going to have a hard time stopping this. In fact, I don't know how you do, but keep an eye on this guy right here. It's the tight end in the slot, Isaiah Likely. He's more like a wide receiver, but they list him as a tight end. In this case, getting some zone. Lamar's at the top of his drop. There's nothing going on, okay? The in route here. Usually you get in the high and lows. It's 2x2 formations. They run the 2-man combos. Makes it easy for Lamar to go from one side of the field to the other. Well, in this case, there's really nothing happening, okay? And so Lamar, being Lamar, starts to extend the play. Misses, gets the outside linebacker to miss him. But still, nobody's open. But watch Isaiah Likely right here. As soon as he sees Lamar get free and start to scramble, look what he's doing. He's saying, I'm being covered by an underneath coverage guy. I'm going north and south. Watch this thing open up. Boom. Throw, catch, wide open. And they're making it up as they go. There's no team better at the scramble drill than these guys are. Lamar can keep that play alive, and all the receivers are on the same page as to where they need to go. We can't forget about Derrick Henry, and this is the way that the Ravens love to use him. It's something a little bit more reminiscent of what you'd see in college, okay? But what do you have? You have the pistol formation. Notice the front by Miami. What the Ravens are going to do here is option this guy right here, okay? They're going to tell the offensive line, ignore him. We're going to block down on him. This guard will help here and work his way to the second level on this linebacker. The center goes to him. He comes down, get a little double team, work your way up here. And depending on what this defensive lineman does, if at the snap he goes and crashes, then Lamar keeps the football and goes out to the flat. If for some reason he stays where he is, then Lamar is going to hand the football off to Derrick Henry and let these double teams work up here. And he hits this thing downhill so hard, it's very difficult to stop. Watch Henry on this play, okay? He takes this football, and right now there is absolutely nowhere to go. But one guy makes a mistake, and it's this defensive end over here on the outside. He's supposed to have contained. Okay, he's not supposed to let Henry get outside of him, but he makes a fatal mistake right here. Okay, he's getting tied up. He says, all right, I can fold back underneath now because Henry is through the line of scrimmage. Well, not quite. Watch this jump cut. Boom. Outside, finds the edge, ends up being a 32-yard run by Derrick Henry on a play that had nowhere to go inside. So you have to keep this guy bottled up. How do you do that? Glad you asked. Let's go to the next play. So how do you keep Derrick Henry bottled up? Well, especially in a play like this in the outside zone, it's about being physical. Watch this defensive end from Miami and what he does against this offensive tackle. He's taking this thing at an angle, and he's going to cut this lane off, okay? So this doesn't allow Henry to get ahead of steam going this way. He has to make a decision quickly, right? So watch the physicality of the defensive end. Ball snapped. Right here, this offensive lineman, he's moving backwards, okay? He's moving backwards. From the point of contact right here to what's happening by the time he gets this football, he's moved this offensive tackle back into the lap of Henry. So Henry now has to make a cutback early before too early, but with someone in his lap. He doesn't have the downhill. He can't surf this thing the way he wants to. You make him start and stop like you do in that case and let everybody else, get up to the play. So again, watch this defensive end on the outside, okay? The ball is snapped. Watch him move this tackle back into the backfield. So at the mesh point, Henry really he can't string these defenders all over this way because he's not threatening to the outside at all. You get the cutback, the linebackers are in there. That's how you slow down Henry. So overall, this is a good football team, okay? Hamilton, they're using him in so many different ways. The offense is going to have to keep track of him all the time. Lamar Jackson, it's a job in and of itself to stop that guy. But then when you put him with a Derrick Henry who can run so well, and they could build the boots and the play actions, and how well these receivers know Lamar when he's scrambling, extending plays, our DBs have to plaster. Something we haven't done well this year. They have to have that clock in their head and stick and make it man-to-man, even if it's zone, after Lamar's had the ball in the backfield for two or 3 seconds. So be physical, get some turnovers. The Vikings can get above 500 again.